Have you ever stood at the front of a classroom teaching a lesson step by step, only to find your students completely lost by the midpoint? Usually, when a room full of people hits a wall at the exact same time, the topic itself isn't too difficult. The friction actually comes from the order of the material. The ideas are presented in an arrangement that simply doesn't make logical sense to someone hearing them for the first time. Educational clarity depends on precise timing. A concept that feels impossible at the start of a lesson can become intuitive simply by introducing it at the correct moment. That timing, the deliberate pacing and ordering of information, is what educators call sequencing. It serves as the definitive boundary separating a student who shuts down from one who moves forward with confidence. To see how sequencing operates in practice, think about a structured environment outside the classroom. Imagine walking into a professional kitchen. If you want to successfully execute a new recipe, there is a strict order of operations you have to follow. You gather your raw ingredients, you prep them, then you apply heat. You cannot start by trying to plate and decorate a meal that hasn't been cooked yet. The cognitive intake of new academic ideas operate under those exact same mechanical constraints. Consider the process of teaching someone how to construct a written essay. If you ask a student to build an essay's macro structure before explaining how a single paragraph works, the attempt collapses. But supply those foundational components first, and the base paragraphs slide into place, instantly stabilizing the broader structure. When a learner receives information in the correct chronological sequence, they feel secure. When the order is inverted, the mental process feels impossibly confusing. Skipping the foundational steps deprives the student of the necessary context to understand the larger goal. Order dictates comprehension. To ensure that comprehension happens consistently, there is a simple, repeatable architecture you can apply to any learning pathway. Tier 1 establishes the baseline. You introduce basic, fundamental concepts first. From there, you move up to the second tier, understanding. This is where students translate those newly acquired concepts into their own words. The third tier introduces practice, assigning small tasks where learners execute what they just explained. The final step is application, where they deploy those practice skills in real-world scenarios. This four-step architecture is highly effective in a traditional classroom, but it becomes critical in a digital landscape. Because online students learn independently, often asynchronously, they lack a live instructor to course-correct if they get lost. The structural parameters must be much tighter. This requires breaking long lessons into short modules, mapping out an unmistakably clear progression from topic to topic, and inserting micro-activities immediately after every section. By preparing the student for the exact next step, independent learning stops feeling like a solitary struggle. It becomes a smooth, logical journey. Back in the classroom setting, the reality becomes clear. High-quality content loses its value when it is delivered in a random heap. Real progress depends on how that information is structured over time. You start with the simplest elements and let the complexity build gradually. Then you introduce iterative practice, allowing those skills to harden before asking a student to tackle real-world applications. When the material follows a clear path, learners don't panic. They feel stable, capable, and ready for the next challenge. Learning is the forward momentum students gain when they can clearly see where they've been and exactly where they are going next.